Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much to all of you for joining us at this festive event. I am Mickey Gallivan. I am the current chair of the Salt Lake Airport Advisory Board, and I'm a guy who stands in awesome wonder about what we're all about to see. We're here for a preview of the brand new airport terminal and surrounding facilities, which is really the first major redesign of the Salt Lake International Airport in nearly 40 years. You are surrounded by the beauty of Utah, reflective of what I think that we will find when our new airport facility is completed. I'd like to thank and recognize the people who have gotten us to this fabulous overlook and are about to take this huge economic driver of our community through its biggest advancement yet. First of all, many thanks to Mayor Ralph Becker, the captain of this team, which is about to undertake a task that I submit to you is even more difficult than the Utah Utes scoring 62 points to beat the Oregon Ducks. We'll hear from our mayor presently. County Mayor Ben McAdams was going to be here. I didn't see Ben come in. Also, there are a number of state representatives who are here, but I didn't see you come in either. We'd like to recognize your presence and thank you for coming. Many thanks to David Everett, the mayor's chief of staff and the principal city liaison to the airport administration. And many thanks to the members of the Salt Lake City Council who are here today. And I know Stan Penfield is still here, and there's Stan. Aaron Mendenhall was here, but I think had to run. Other members of the City Council, thank you so much for your support to this point. And that includes James Rogers, especially, who is the council liaison to our airport board. And speaking of that board, most of the members of the board are here to witness this unveiling. Meet Igor Best-Devereaux, David Ibarra, Mike Zool, Larry Pinnock, Christine Bodisson, Natalie Glockenor, is that right, Natalie? And Wayne Holland and J.T. Martin, who I don't think were able to make it today. And finally, in my opinion, the nation's most competent airport executive director, Maureen Riley. You'll hear from Maureen shortly. And we have with us, and Maureen will introduce the TRP's overall manager, Mike Williams. And an airport staff you will see is wholly immersed in this project. I have a good friend who's an orthopedic surgeon, and I once said to him, I really think all you are is a carpenter. You're an overeducated mechanic. And he said, yeah, that's true, but he said, think of it this way. He said, I changed the pistons on your Mercedes-Benz while the engine is running. Well, I submit to you that that's what is going to happen before our very eyes in the coming months. This giant jet airplane of an airport terminal is going to have its cabin changed, its wings replaced, its superstructure totally replaced, along with the engines on the airplane while everything is in flight. It will be an amazing accomplishment. The captain of our team, Captain Mayor Becker, will you assume the kickoff duties for this undertaking?
Mickey, thank you so much. And this will be as successful as the Oregon-Utah game on Saturday night. It was an amazing game. And this project is an incredible project. I need to, of course, thank Maureen, who is not only our airport director, and as was noted, we recognize as being incredible, but just this week, she received the Airport Director of the Year Award for hub airports anywhere in the country. So Maureen, congratulations on that. And of course, we need to thank Delta Airlines for their incredible partnership they've had with the Salt Lake City Airport as a hub airport for them, and their incredible support and decision-making really along the way with us that's led to this airport. Well, it's hard to believe, but it's finally coming. The new SLC airport terminal will touch down in just 5 short years, and they will seem short if you watch the progress as of this unfold, as Mickey talked about, while everything continues to operate, hopefully seamlessly. And as you'll soon see, this will be a landmark facility that is truly befitting of our beautiful city, and a further sign of the ongoing vibrancy and growth and vitality of our community. It's been such a pleasure for me in our work with so much community input, and it's both community and traveler input with the way this airport was conceived, airport redevelopment for the new terminal. And it will be inspiring, it'll be convenient to use, and this airport will set a whole new standard for sustainability. So let me talk about inspiring. People traveling through airports, of course, are on their way to visit new places and see new things. There is still a sense of anticipation and excitement attached to air travel, even though we know the process today is much more challenging and onerous than it was pre-9/11. And I'm sure that most of you have experienced airport terminals that are boring and utilitarian at best, and tedious and wearisome at their worst. So building a completely new terminal gives us a very rare opportunity to design it in a way that meets today's security needs while also lifting the passenger spirits and interesting design elements in public art. I'm excited that our new airport, and particularly the interior, will reflect the unparalleled beauty of our natural assets. The exterior will reflect the traditional characteristics of our city and state: Utah sandstone, native plants, plenty of glass to both reflect our mountains and provide views of them. And on the inside, people will see something that is really spectacular, something you haven't seen before, but that you'll get a taste of in just a few minutes. How we finance public projects is a critical matter for all of us and obviously for our taxpayers. And I want to note one element again that we've talked about before as we've talked about our airport. This nearly $2 billion project is being paid for without any of our state or local general tax revenues. The airport users, that is the travelers, the airlines, the concessionaires, and not Salt Lake City taxpayers, will be paying for this project. An airport also needs to be convenient, and our airport is renowned for how easy it is to get in and out of and move around in. And it's obviously particularly important for our travelers as a hub airport, where I think about half of our travelers are traveling through the airport. The gates are relatively close together. Getting through security is a fairly quick process most of the time. And dropping off and picking up travelers is easy, particularly if you use the cell phone park and wait lot. Parking is plentiful. Rental cars are located in the parking garage, which makes it just steps from the terminal. And our record for on-time takeoffs and landings are among the best in the country. Well, guess what? The new terminal has those same characteristics that we've come to appreciate and our travelers have come to appreciate about Salt Lake City's airport. First of all, our current 3 terminals and 5 concourses will be replaced with a single terminal building that contains all of the services, and our concourse with moving walkways to make getting around will be getting to your gate a breeze. We'll have more security checkpoints to get you through security even faster. There will be many more shops and restaurants and bars and seating areas. The parking garage, that short-term parking garage, will have twice as many spaces than we have now, and long-term parking will remain convenient. The rental car counters will be located in a new gateway center right between the terminal and the new garage. So something almost unique to our airport. Our visitors won't have to take a shuttle to a remote car facility. And that means, of course, they'll be on their way to downtown, to ski slopes, to Utah's wonderful scenic areas and communities quickly, and will start their visit with a positive and efficient experience. And you'll be happy to know that the crowded e-concourse and its outdoor gates will be gone. All of the gates in the new concourse will have jetways. Oh, and one more thing that's unique to us. You know that we get these big crowds that are often in baggage claim areas to welcome home LDS missionaries. Well, we are adding a large meet and greet area separate from the baggage claim. The third element that I want to talk about is sustainability. And this last characteristic is near and dear to my heart, and in my opinion is the most significant, and I appreciate that the folks involved with the airport have taken this element to heart as well. We are going to make our new terminal complex the most sustainable it can be, in keeping with the goals that we've set for ourselves on city projects. That means we'll be conserving and protecting our valuable resources, our water, our air quality, our energy, our mountain views, and on. It is extremely important to our community and will only grow in importance, of course, in the future. I've challenged Maureen and her staff and our architects to develop a roadmap, or maybe I should say a runway, to net zero, and strive for giving the country its first net zero airport, meaning that it generates as much energy as it uses from renewable energy resources. Achieving net zero is a tall order, and we did it with our public safety building, and we must try to do it with our new airport facilities. Another key sustainability characteristic will be to ensure that our new terminal, parking garage, and other buildings are as earthquake resistant as possible. Building standards have changed a great deal since Terminal 1 opened in 1961, thank you, and Terminal 2 in 1983. I'll throw out a number there. And even since our international buildings opened in the 1990s. With the faults that we have in northern Utah, thought to be long overdue, I should say, for a major seismic event, keeping a key facility like our airport running will greatly help with both our resilience and recovery as a community. Today is an exciting day, and I, like you, are very much looking forward to seeing what our new airport terminal will look like. Some images of the building's exterior and a few concepts of the interior have been shared before, but today you'll see some of the detailed views of the new building, both outside and in. The new Salt Lake City Airport terminal is really taking off, and I thank you for taking time this morning to share in this exciting news. So let me turn the time over to Maureen Riley, and we'll see for most of us, a first glimpse at this remarkable new facility.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming today. I just can't say how exciting this is for me and for so many people in this room. This, as I said earlier, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event for someone like me who manages an airport, and for many of the staff members who are here who work at the airport. These facilities just don't get built that often. So very exciting. And we do have a 5-minute video that we're going to show you that really takes you through and gives you some background on the project. But before I do that, I'd like to thank some of the people who have been really very much involved in getting us to this point. Of course, the members of City Council who may still be here, and Airport Advisory Board members. Our fantastic team of consultants, and I'm a big believer in going out into the community and globally even getting the experts who are the best at what they do, bring them in and have them help solve problems. So we have done that. We have Mike Williams in the back of the room, who is our program director. He has a staff of about 20 people to help manage the program, and eventually that number will grow to about 40. Of course, I have to mention Delta Airlines and CEO Richard Anderson. We had a very fateful meeting with Richard Anderson about 3 years ago when the decision was made to build a new airport in Salt Lake City. That was a great day for us. Also at Delta Airlines, Hank Moody, one of our property representatives, David Ham, Holden Shannon, I think Tom Lang is here today, and our local station manager, Brett Rydalch, is in the room. Also, we couldn't get to where we are today without understanding the financial impacts of a project of this magnitude. So Jeff Schultes from Trillion has been our financial modeler. He's developing a model that takes all of these costs, puts it in a giant Excel spreadsheet, which is 80 pages long, and churns out a number to which the airlines agreed. Also, our architecture team, HOK, Alan Bright is here, Robert Chicas, Mark Otzi, some other people from HOK. And that also includes many of the local architectural and engineering firms from Salt Lake City. We also have engaged Roy Block from RW Block Consulting. Roy and his team have been helping us design and implement a software management system that will last for years and will help us manage the huge costs that go along with this project. And you'll see a bit later in the video Gordon Huther. And Gordon Huther is the artist who has been commissioned to really integrate art very early on in this process into the architecture. He's been really fun to work with, and I think you'll be really impressed with his design. Of course, we have many, many other partners, concessionaires, rental cars, tenants at the airport who have participated. And of course, the airport staff. I see many of you standing in the back room. Just a very hardworking group of people. As we like to say now, we actually have two jobs. We have the job of running the airport and the job of building a new airport. So we're 60 hours a week, most of us. And of course, the mayor and the mayor's administration, who have been very supportive. For the last 8 years, we've been really building to this point and implementing a lot of the enabling projects that get us to where we are today. So I know that all of this hard work will pay off and will really give us this fabulous facility. It does give us an economic advantage in many, many ways. I also want to emphasize something the mayor mentioned about cost. And yes, it's a $1.8 billion project, but that does not affect local taxpayers. We have been a very frugal management team. We have on our own about $400 million in the bank. And the funding for the program will be coming from airlines. They will contribute. The airport will contribute. There'll be passenger facility charges that are collected from ticket sales, airline ticket sales. And there will be customer facility charges that are collected from rental car contracts. In addition to that, we will receive federal grants. One other thing I did want to mention, the graphics around the room. We did complete a terminal outreach survey a couple of years ago. Some of you may have been involved in that and responded to it. But a couple of the things we heard, and we heard loud and clear in the responses, one was technology, technology, technology. So we're hoping to incorporate as much as we can into the facility, and also to remember to bring the natural beauty of Utah into the facility. And I think we've done that. So without any further ado, let's take a few minutes and look at the 5-minute video that's been prepared.
Salt Lake City is a place where people are friendly, with a vibrant downtown and beautiful environment. It is an amazing place to live, work, and play. Salt Lake City International Airport is unusual for a city of this size, largely because we are a Delta hub. Because we are at the very center of the West, it provides a gateway to not only this city and the country, but really around the world.
The airport that exists today was built over a period of time beginning in 1961. It's actually 29 separate buildings that are combined together. It was designed to accommodate 10 million passengers. Today, we're serving almost 22 million. As we designed and planned for this new facility, we wanted first and foremost to address seismic considerations, but secondly, to make sure it could accommodate a hub operation. We went through an 18-month process with the airlines collaboratively to really decide whether to renovate the existing facility or to build new. In Salt Lake, the decision was made to build new. The cost differential was nominal. There was also a longer construction phase with renovation. Because Delta Airlines is the Fortress hub carrier in Salt Lake City, we invited them into the discussion very early in the process. We also conducted a public outreach survey.
That meant talking to passengers. What is it that you like? What is it that you need?
The number one response was to incorporate technology into the new facility.
For local folks, it meant having a big greeting area. People coming in and out of the airport here are often greeted by large family groups, and we wanted to make sure we provided for that.
And a request to bring the natural beauty of the environment that we find in Utah into the new facility.
One of the great things about flying into Salt Lake is flying into the valley between the mountain ranges on approach to the airport. The terminal will be an extension of that experience. One of the main features of the new terminal is centralization. Passengers come into a central hall where all of the airlines reside in one location. They all move from the check-in hall into one security checkpoint.
After the security checkpoint, passengers enter into a food court and a concession area. They will come into a plaza with a large glass wall that opens onto the airfield.
The gate hold room areas will be much more comfortable. We've also created an extra ample meet-a-greeter area. What we're striving to do with the new airport is to open it up to the surrounding environment, introduce light, views, volume. The piece of art that's being developed for the central hall that will line the walls really evokes what you see when you look out the window.
The canyon begins at the arrivals lobby and ends at the Grand Plaza. The canyon continues uninterrupted, so you can make a visual connection from one end of the airport to the other. Going through a canyon, one is very much struck by the quality of light and the colors.
Hues of red stone, sage green, the lavender sunsets. There will be several areas throughout the terminal that will incorporate other works of art. That will go through a competitive process beginning in 2017.
One of the real challenges is needing to keep all of the operations going during construction. With the cooperation of the airlines, a construction phasing strategy was developed here where we could incrementally build the new facilities and slowly decommission the old facilities.
As early as October 2015, the roadways will begin to change as we negotiate around the construction zone. All phases of the construction are scheduled to open simultaneously in 2020.
Salt Lake City is a place where we hold our environmental quality to the highest standards and expectations. We will incorporate state-of-the-art sustainability features in this airport, and that begins by reducing our energy use. We've set net zero as the goal for every city facility.
Over a period of years, the airlines will convert their ground equipment to electrically charged vehicles.
The redevelopment of the Salt Lake City Airport is a $1.8 billion project. So just the immediate impact, jobs, and revenue that's generated is huge. All of the funding for this airport reconstruction is coming from airport users. It's not being imposed on the taxpayers of Utah. We see this as a great combination of efforts and a huge project for our city and for the region.
We want to make sure people remember Salt Lake City International. And we have a couple of additional, they're renderings really that have been made into videos. So I think we start with the departure. So this will follow a passenger through the facility as they're getting on a flight to leave. And then there'll be a second short video that follows the passenger who's arriving at the airport. I think we'll have, we can take some questions and answers. We do have some slides that we can take you through, and I can talk a little bit about these, and maybe that will generate some questions. So this is an aerial view of the new facility. I'm not sure which side to go on here. And what this shows, one thing it's important to remember is not the entire airport will be rebuilt at this time. This is phase 1. So we're still showing the remaining concourses, that the new linear concourse is attached to concourse B, C, and D. These 3 concourses up there. So in a later phase, those 3 concourses will probably be demolished, and a standalone additional linear terminal will be built in the north, in this, up there, in that area, and that will require a tunnel that needs to be built underneath to connect the 2 linear concourses. Any questions on this? This is just a rendering of the curb, and we mentioned earlier that some of these renderings, no one will ever have this view. This is more like a bird's eye view, but it's great. It's a great way to explain what the project is and how it really works. So this is a view of really 2 curbs. So we will, for the first time, be splitting the traffic into 2 curbs. There'll be a ground level curb and then a curb for departures that will take you up to the 3rd level. And the ticket counter, the main ticket counter, will be on the 3rd level of the terminal. This is the view again from the airfield into the Grand Plaza with the window wall that looks out onto the airfield. Someone asked earlier, so where is this window wall in relation to the airport today? So if you're familiar with the E-gates, this is in about that same proximity as the E-gates are today. So the entire facility shifts somewhat to the south and the west. Here we have an interior shot of the parking garage. So the parking garage will actually have moving sidewalks in it too. It will be a 5-level garage. As the mayor mentioned, it will have twice as many parking spaces. You might be familiar today with the issues we have. Sometimes we run out of spaces in the garage. But the great feature of the new parking garage is that we will still have rental cars in the bottom level. And that's a huge customer service opportunity for travelers who arrive with skis and boots and children and poles and suitcases. So that's one thing. A lot of airports today are not able to maintain that level of service just because of limited space. This is a shot in the, I think this might be, let me see, the Gateway building. So this is a structure that's really on the front of the parking garage, and when you come out of the, directly come out of the parking garage, if you've arrived on light rail or you've returned a rental car or you've parked in the garage, you will be able to check your bag in immediately in this, we're calling it the Gateway Center. And you can also pick up your rental car here. So we'll have 2 functions in this center, ticketing and bag drop, as well as rental car. And this is in the terminal building. As you've come across the pedestrian bridge, you've arrived in the terminal. This is ticketing level. And this is out in the gate hold room area that also will have moving sidewalks. This linear concourse will be about 4,000 feet long. So we'll have to make sure we include conveniences for passengers, especially because we have so many passengers making connecting flights. And this is a shot, a rendering down through the center core of the terminal and the canyon artwork up above. One thing that's not really portrayed in the video and the renderings are that this art will actually have movement. So there'll be a lighting system in the ceiling above that reflects down on the art and creates shadows and colors. So it will be functional art in many ways. And then another shot out onto the window wall. I mentioned that someday there will be another linear concourse in the north, and what will happen at that point is this area of that plaza will turn into a tunnel access. So that will be replaced there in the center with escalators that will go down into a tunnel that will take you out into another concourse area. And that's the end. So, are there any questions? Question here?
Light rail.
Light rail.
How will it get into the airport?
Light rail will move from its existing location. It will actually become elevated, and it will arrive on the second level on the face of the parking garage in what will be much like an intermodal facility. So in the front of the garage, we'll have rental car traffic, or passengers arriving there. We'll have people checking in bags, we'll have people who have parked in the garage, and we'll have light rail passengers arriving. And that creates a seamless experience for light rail passengers. They'll come in, arrive at the second level, cross the pedestrian bridge, go to the checkpoint, and then out through the gate, and they will never have to change a level, transfer a level, which is a really, really high level of customer service for passengers at airports. Anything else? Okay, thank you everyone for coming today.
Maureen, thank you so very much for what is going to be a fabulous project. The detail of the planning has been just mind-boggling to me as I've watched this unfold. We got a tour of some of the facilities that are underway already. It's hard to see, but we've already spent $50 million in this project. Mike was saying that we're under contract with $70 or $71 million already. Starting in October, I think everyone will begin to see really what is happening. For some perspective, I came upon a photograph at my father's house of an event that he attended in 1927 when Charles Lindbergh landed the Spirit of St. Louis in Salt Lake City Airport. He took a victory tour of the United States after his transatlantic flight, and he brought his airplane and his presence to our own airfield. Along with this photograph that I found was the program, an extensive program that we'll reproduce and get circulated because it's great fun of what happened a century ago. I just might read the description of the Salt Lake Airport plane's eye view. 4 miles to the west of Salt Lake City lies one of the best civic airports in the United States. The field has every natural advantage to facilitate landing and takeoff. It lies on a great open plain that is unobstructed to the vision of the pilot. Lying at about the center of the valley, the field is easy to locate. Whether a pilot arrives from east, west, north, or south, he can easily get his bearings and make an easy landing. The Salt Lake Airport, at an elevation of 4,301 feet, includes 105 acres of level ground with additional adjacent land available when required. The planning began in 1927. The largest hangar is a brick structure constructed by local businessmen at a cost of $17,000, raised by popular subscription, if you will. Well, I submit to you, Mr. Mayor, and to Madam Director, that the undertaking that you have just described will finally merit the personal recognition that Mr. Lindbergh himself brought to the Salt Lake City Airport almost a century ago. Thank you all for coming. We look forward to many of these sessions in the future.